last audit was 67%, and we are rising. It is our hope and believe that before the next 2 years, we should be able to score 96-97% also in safety.
Aviation Ministry receives presidential thumbs up as ICAO presents certificate of improved security at Nigerian airports.
The federal government is unrelenting in tackling these challenges because without peace and security, there can be no development.
Federal and state governors in Northwest appraise and re-strategize on combating insecurity. Nigeria is set to earn 360 billion naira annually as Senate passes Deep Offshore and Production Sharing Contract Act Amendment Bill.
Having clean hands can lead to the prevention of numerous preventable water and sanitation diseases.
Plus, Global Hand Washing Day marked with hygiene hearers unveiled. Good evening and welcome to the network news on the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Kenen Ima Abodike. Also reading with me tonight is Dotun Oguyemi in Lagos and Musa Abubakar in Sokoto. President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed satisfaction with the revolutionary initiatives introduced by the Ministry of Aviation aimed at enhancing the desired safety and security in the nation's aviation sector. This was while receiving a certificate of improved security in civil aviation presented to Nigeria by the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
For the coming on board of the Buhari presidency, aviation security in Nigeria was, to say the least, fraught with challenges. The 2016 Turkish airline incident, where some aggrieved passengers overpowered aviation security to gain access to the tarmac at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, was one of the instances that are bound to buttress this claim. With that as a wake-up call, far-reaching measures were therefore introduced by the Ministry of Aviation towards enhancing the safety and security in the critical economic sector. These include the development of security template, engagement of experts, and capacity building, which resulted in the country gaining due recognition in the world map of aviation community. Consequently, after a series of screenings and checks by the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, Nigeria achieved 96.4% in aviation security. And this certificate of improved security in civil aviation received on behalf of Nigeria at the ICAO Congress in Canada is formally presented to President Muhammadu Buhari by the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika. Nigeria is one of the 16 countries certified out of the 196 member nations that were surveyed by ICAO.
Mr. President was delighted, more than delighted, to see that his energy, his passion, his drive, his counseling, his guidance has not gone down the drain. It has achieved us this certificate. It has brought about fame. It made us more secure. It has improved our aviation system, and we've scored 96%. So he was very, very glad and delighted that we achieved this. He said, congratulations to Nigeria. I'm quoting him by his own words.
On safety, the minister, Hadi Sirika, told journalists that Nigeria is also above global average of 60%.
In Nigeria, the last audit was 67%, and we are rising. It is our hope and believe that before the next 2 years, we should be able to score 96-97% also in safety. Part of the things that we did for safety is, for the first time in Nigeria, for the very first time, government in, government out, they tried to certify our airports according to standards, and they all failed. Within the administration of His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, President of Nigeria, we were able to certify 2 of our airports. We certified Abuja and Lagos, and we'll soon certify Kano and Port Harcourt. This is extremely important because safety and security are the main concerns in civil aviation.
He said apart from aviation safety and security, his ministry is also committed to working with critical stakeholders towards guaranteeing passenger facilitation and comfort as well as efficiency. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
The federal government has reassured that it will continue to work in collaboration with state governments and stakeholders to combat all forms of insecurity across the country. This was the submission of some federal cabinet members at a special town hall meeting on security to appraise the fight against banditry, cattle rustling and kidnapping in the Northwest. Anthony Folson reports.
Hosted by the Katsina State government, one of the frontline states hit by activities of bandits, cattle rustlers and kidnappers, the convener and Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, in company of the Ministers of Interior and Defense, engaged the citizens, with Lai Mohammed leading the way.
As all are aware, one of the cardinal programs of the Buhari administration is to tackle insecurity across the country. Whether it is Boko Haram, banditry, kidnapping, cattle rustling, or armed robbery, the administration has faced the challenges posed by insecurity with grit and determination. The federal government is unrelenting in tackling these challenges because without peace and security, there can be no development.
Defense and Interior Ministers on their part say the federal government's effort in safeguarding lives and property of the citizens is paramount.
I wish to assure you all that the Ministry of Defense and the entire armed forces are committed and will remain resolute in our efforts to facilitate the attainment of the federal government drive to guarantee the safety of lives and properties across the country, as well as to protect the country from both external and internal aggression.
We are here to look at security and to let you know that our administration is fully conscious of its responsibilities to you on the issue of security. We know that human beings readily give out their freedom and liberty, that the governments take appropriate care about their security so that they can live a fulfilled life.
For governors of Katsina, Zamfara and Sokoto, who are all among the frontline states, their submissions were that of a people heaving a sigh of relief after the intervention.
Kidnapping and armed banditry have reduced drastically to the barest minimum. Normalcy and the relative peace have returned in the 8 frontline local government areas. Markets which hitherto were not being patronized due to the menace of cattle rustling, kidnapping, and banditry have now continued to witness large number of people from all walks of life, thereby increasing economic fortunes of the state.
The wave of attack has drastically reduced as a result of dialogue and reconciliation project of my administration. There are still pockets of challenges that crops up from time to time, but we are currently working very hard to consolidate the atmosphere of peace which has been regained within the first 4 months of my administration.
There's also the need for us to provide adequate funding for them to have equipment and hardware. We know the challenges, we know what is going on. They cannot fight this war without being properly kitted, without being properly refurbished in terms of the hardware, in terms of the equipment that they require.
Taking comments from the crowd, some suggested an all-inclusive approach to combating the menace, as well as increased funding and more recruitment, even though they expressed satisfaction with the efforts of both the federal and state governments. In Katsina, Anthony Folson, NTA News.
Meanwhile, governors of Sokoto, Kebbi and Zamfara State have reiterated commitments to work closely with traditional rulers and security agencies in the interest of curbing kidnapping and other security challenges. Dalhatu Abdullahi reports that this came to the limelight at the town hall meeting organized by the Sultanate Council, Sokoto, in collaboration with the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Sokoto State Council.
The town hall meeting brought together members of the Sultanate Council, emirs from Kebbi and Zamfara states, and heads of security agencies in the zone. The aim of the meeting was to offer opportunity for participants to discuss and come up with homegrown solutions to challenges of insecurity in the zone.
Let's do an inspection. Let's talk to ourselves and find out what were really the problems. How did we get to the current situation? I'm very worried about the current situation because we must move forward. We must overcome all these challenges.
State governments in the zone pledged to continue working with traditional institutions and security agencies to ensure relative peace and security across the zone.
In Sokoto, Kebbi and Zamfara, we have chairmen of traditional councils in His Eminence the Sultan, who is very well experienced on matters of the moment and who is very dynamic in providing leadership on all of these issues.
The town hall meeting featured presentations on the role of community leaders in curtailing security challenges and the depoliticization of security issues, expectations from politicians, security operatives, and the media practitioners. In Sokoto, Dalatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
An ongoing National Development Summit of Traditional Rulers in Abuja is proposing incentives for intertribal marriages and entrepreneurship as pathways to national integration and stability. Chimdima Ndubisi is at the two-day summit that is also looking at the way out of Nigeria's security challenges.
Nigeria's traditional institution setting an agenda for the nation's future. The issues being raised are on how to curb terrorism using humane means while entrenching religious harmony and promoting intercultural affiliations. They are also in support of the federal government's policies and programs, especially the autonomy given to local governments. These monarchs say they are committed to the nation's development.
We tried to make some suggestions like speeding up constitutional review and also gun control.
We have to consider adopting a strategy of intensified campaign for behavioral change.
When there's moral behavior in the society, I tell you, the society will be calm.
For the federal government, these royal fathers are dependable allies in nation building and with proximity to the grassroots. They are therefore reliable in the area of surveillance and intelligence sharing with security agencies, especially now that priority is placed on community policing. Nigeria's vice president, in a message presented by the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, wants the traditional leaders to throw their moral weight behind government's developmental programs.
We have trained a corps of local mediators that will help in peace building, alternate dispute resolution structures in the states.
The two-day summit is expected to come up with recommendations for consideration by governments at all levels. In Abuja, Chimdima Ndubisi, NTA News.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says Nigeria is fully cooperating with the International Criminal Court ICC preliminary examination into issues related to insurgency in the Northeast to ensure the process is forthrightly concluded. The Vice President said this when he received a delegation from the International Criminal Court ICC led by its prosecutor Fatou Bensouda. Discussions at the meeting centered on Nigeria's support and cooperation with the Office of the Prosecutor at the ICC, and the Vice President emphasized that the Nigerian government remains committed to raise obligations under the Rome Statute. In the same vein, the International Criminal Court Prosecutor Fatou Bensouda noted that since the court started the preliminary examination, it has the full cooperation and support from the Nigerian government and authorities. Other top government officials at the meeting include the Director General, Department of State Services, DSS, Yusuf Magajibichi, and the Solicitor General of the Federation and Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Justice, Dayo Abata. President of Senate, Ahmad Lawan, met with security chiefs over security concerns. Senator Lawan held a crucial security meeting with top officials who are directly charged with the security of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. The Senate President said the meeting was to address the current security challenges in the FCT and chart the way forward. It is a follow-up to an earlier meeting held last week, adding that the idea was to engage those who are directly dealing with the security issues within the FCT. In attendance were the National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Munguno, FCT Minister Mohammed Bello, Director General of Department of State Service, Yusuf Magajibichi. Others are the Assistant Inspector General of Police, Peter Ogun Yonwon, who represented the Inspector General of Police, FCT Commissioner of Police, Bala Chirama, and FCT Permanent Secretary, Chinyaka Oha. The joy of residents of Gurumi village in Chukun local government area of Kaduna State knew no bounds following the rescue of the remaining 4 out of the 10 students of Government Day Secondary School that were kidnapped on Thursday, 10th of October 2019 by troops of Operation Thunderstrike. A statement released by the Deputy Director, Army Public Relations, 1 Division, Nigerian Army, Colonel 8 Idima, states that the bandits terrorizing Kaduna Abuja Highway on Thursday, 10th October 2019, abducted 10 students of Government Day Secondary School while they were on their way to school. Following a tip-off from a reliable source, troops raided the hideout of the bandits and successfully rescued the remaining 4 students without any injury. The rescued students have since been handed over to their parents and guardians. You're watching 88 Network News. Time for our first commercial. Do stay tuned.
Papa Scholastic, now what is it? Emeka, drive the limousine Bugatti, come inside now. Waiting Glow 200 naira recharge card for me. 200 naira.
Just recharge 200 naira for 1 day, and you say fit follow win for the hundreds and hundreds of heavy prizes like a can of pepper, industrial sewing machine, grinding machine, and generator. Glow, my own done better.
My grinder will go win. Now here I go put up. Make
Hey, make una no go recharge you na Glow. I don't win generator, and here na myself. Oh,
the more you recharge, the more your chance, the better.
Unlimited. Welcome to Adeleke University, a faith-based learning institution located in the serene and historic town of Ide, Osun State, Nigeria, running on the well-thought vision of its founding fathers to improve lives and society. The institution offers affordable and quality education. We are currently offering admission into our faculties of science, engineering, law, and art. We are also offering entry into the Faculty of Basic Medical Sciences and the Faculty of Business and Social Science. Our College of Postgraduate Studies offers you the chance to earn your master's and doctorate's degree in over 30 disciplines. For more inquiries, please visit www.adelikeuniversity.edu.ng. You can also call 0806-820-2021. Adeleke University. Education, excellence, character.
Hey, bro, what's up, man? Wait. Sure, son, I want the bicycle.
Enjoy more data than before on Airtel Home Broadband. Get up to 160 gigabytes on routers with 25,000 naira and 55 gigabytes on Airtel MiFi's with 12,000 naira. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband by
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Let Mosa's goodness fuel your greatness. Let's go.
The Honorable Minister of Education, Adamu, and the Minister of State for Education, Honorable Chukwuemeka Nwajuba, cordially invite the Chairman, Senate and House Committees on Education, Chief Executives of parastatals under the Federal Ministry of Education, Commissioners and Permanent Secretaries of States Ministries of Education, and Chairman of States Universal Basic Education Boards to a 2-day retreat designed to collate, harmonize, and align sub-national education sector plans with the National Blueprint Education for Change, a ministerial strategic plan. Date, Thursday 17th to Friday 18th October 2019. Venue, second floor podium, headquarters, Federal Ministry of Education, Abuja. Time, 9 a.m. daily. Architect Sonny Echomo, Permanent Secretary, Announcer.
Afe Babalola University at Dwekiti. ABUAD celebrates 10 years of unprecedented achievements. Highlights Saturday, 19th October, convocation lecture by Professor Temitope Alonge, 11 a.m. Launching of anniversary publications, The Elusive Search for Nation Nigeria, and other books by Are Ambassador Afe Babalola San, 1 p.m. Commissioning of ABUAD Administrative Building and others. Sunday, 20th October, special Thanksgiving service by Bishop Olashupo Ayokunle, President, Christian Association of Nigeria, 10 a.m. Founders Anniversary Dinner and Awards Night with King Sunny Ade on the bandstand, 5 p.m. Monday, 21st October, 7th ABUAD Convocation, Award of Degrees and Honor of Degrees to deserving members of the public, including the Sultan of Sokoto, the Obi of Onisha, Professor Anthony Adegbulube, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, came and celebrate 10 years of ABUAD, the fastest growing university in Africa. ABUAD, a vision in action.
Helpline Foundation Nigeria and partners present the 3rd Annual African Women Conference, AWC 2019, a gathering of experts, institutions, corporate organizations, and individuals promoting the growth, stability, and development of African women, exploring viable options through which various resources available to African women can be channeled towards the sustainable development of the continent. Expected participants include wives of African heads of government, female parliamentarians, public office holders, entrepreneurs, and sustainable development partners. Theme, building a coalition to end gender inequality in Africa. Date 21st to 23rd November 2019. Venue, Kenzi Menara Palace, Marrakesh, Morocco. Chairperson of the occasion, Dr. Mrs. Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, First Lady, Federal Republic of Nigeria. For participation and inquiries, visit www.africa-womenconference.org or call +234 806 5388424. AWC, building an Africa where every woman's potential is fully harnessed. Powered by Helpline Foundation Nigeria, Echoes Africa Initiatives New York, International Center for Diplomacy, Morocco.
Welcome back. Thousands of school children from across the country have been made hygiene heroes, imbibing proper and regular hand-washing practices to prevent diseases. Musbau Dan Wahab reports that various enlightenment programs came to climax in Abuja as stakeholders in the sanitation sector joined the Federal Ministry of Water Resources to commemorate the 2019 Global Hand-Washing Day.
Root transmission of the 62 points.
It is the final of a national quiz competition. 8 states of the Federation made it here, and River State representatives were the most outstanding. But notwithstanding the winners, thousands of children have increased their knowledge not only on hand washing, but also total sanitation. Such awareness, the federal government and partners believe, is necessary to forestall the trend of about 100,000 people, which they say die annually due to diarrhea, and prevent thousands of children from missing school days as a result of diseases that proper hand washing can prevent.
The development and implementation of the National Hygiene Promotion Strategy and Implementation Guidelines are part of the effort of the Ministry and sector stakeholders in improving access to hygiene in the country.
It is another way to press home the message here as pupils from 20 primary schools in the FCT converged.
Wash your hands with soap and water. Prevent Ebola, prevent malaria.
This, as they say, is to ensure that they imbibe and spread the culture of proper hand washing all year round at critical times.
Our hands are the gateway to either health or death.
Having clean hands can lead to the prevention of numerous preventable water and sanitation diseases.
United Nations set aside October 15 for annual commemoration of Global Hand Washing Day. In Abuja, Musbal, then Wahab, NC News.
Let's now take some stories on the petroleum sector. The Senate has passed the Deep Offshore and Inland Basin Production Sharing Contract Act Amendment Bill. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Onkwo reports that the bill was passed less than 2 weeks after its introduction on the floor of the Senate.
In the first week of October 2019, hinted that the unsuccessful attempt to amend the Petroleum Sharing Contract Act saw Nigeria losing about 7 trillion naira between 1993 to date. Few days after the consideration of that motion, the Senate introduced a bill that seeks to reverse the trend. 1 week after, the bill is passed for third reading. During the consideration of the committee's report, senators disagreed on the recommended 10-year intervals for review of the royalty.
We are here to review this law in line with our mandate. If that law has said 15 years, we have to bring it down to 10 years.
The review period is increased from 5 years to 10 years. I want it to remain as 5 years.
Eventually, they approved 8 years and 12% royalty as against the existing 15 years and 0.21%.
And it's not just 2.5. By the time they start production and the cost of crude goes up, we will be making more money.
A punitive measure.
5 years.
500 million.
5 years.
Or 5 years. Because this will deter. It will deter them from even thinking about it.
If this bill is finally signed into law, Nigeria stands to earn additional sum of 360 billion naira annually. The Senate has rounded off debate on the 2020 appropriation bill, passed it for second reading and set 29 October 2019 as deadline for ministries, departments and agencies to appear before respective Senate committees to defend their budgets. The budget has been committed to the Senate Committee on Appropriations for scrutiny. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, described the directive by President Muhammadu Buhari suspending all foreign trips by heads of ministries, departments and agencies during the budget defense as the highest cooperation by a president since 1999.
We should insist that the Federal Minister of Agriculture should come out with a roadmap, a plan of what they want to do to change the current environment of our agricultural sector for the better in the next 4 years.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has transmitted the Finance Bill 2019 to the Senate for speedy passage, as he also sought the approval of the National Assembly to give Kogi State 10.069 billion naira as refund for projects carried out on behalf of the federal government. The legislators urged the federal government to declare state of emergency on federal roads across the country as it resolved to investigate alleged non-remittance of 5% user charge of pump price of petrol to the Federal Road Maintenance Agency as moved by Senator Gashon Bassi, while Senator Kabiru Gaya called for the Senate to investigate the circumstances surrounding the kidnap of 9 children in Kano State who were later found in Onitsha. Senate has adjourned to 29th of October 2019 to give the various committees time to scrutinize the 2020 appropriation bill. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Onkwo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives Committee on Petroleum Resources Upstream has expressed readiness to initiate legislative interventions towards enhanced operations in the petroleum sector for improved output. This, the committee believes, would translate into improved revenue generation for budget funding. National Assembly correspondent Lamia Lee reports.
Among agencies that attended the interactive session with the House Committee on Petroleum Resources Upstream were the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC), Petroleum Technology Development Fund (PTDF), and Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative (NATI). Chairman of the committee, Musa Serkin Adar, said Parliament is concerned over low performance in the sector, which is a major source of revenue for government. This situation over the years has affected budget funding, thereby causing deficit.
Egypt is about 90 million people. They do not have oil, but their budget is well over $56 billion. I wonder what we can achieve with 10.3 trillion naira. And we know there is paucity of funds. This is just an estimate. These funds are not available. Who is supposed to provide that funds? Basic basically and mostly it is you, the NNPC.
The Group Managing Director, NNPC, Mele Kyari, enumerated challenges being faced and current efforts to address them.
Investors must be convinced that your laws will not change, you have a stable fiscal regime, and they know the basis of their investment. And I believe that when we quickly resolve the issue of the fiscal legislation, it will be a mighty step towards getting our partners to invest in our country. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, there are issues around security across our areas of operations. And that has hindered some intervention in some of the onshore assets.
In another development, House Committee on Judiciary says there is need for reform in the judiciary to achieve effective delivery of justice.
Some matters spend the minimum lifespan of 10 years before their final adjudication at the apex court, that is the Supreme Court. Part of this problem is that our legal system allows all matters to travel to the Supreme Court without limit. Not all matters should merit the attention of the apex court.
The committee, during its inaugural meeting, stressed that independence of the judiciary is essential to fast-track the process of adjudication. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
An initiative known as Operation White, expected to stem the smuggling of petroleum products by some operators in the downstream subsector, has been unveiled by the NNPC. Group Managing Director of the corporation, Mele Kyari, says the 89-man team drawn from 5 agencies will authenticate the actual volume of refined petroleum products imported and consumed in the country and ensure that the nation attains energy security. Lydia Sampson has more.
Assuming office as the 19th Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Mele Kyari has not minced words in his resolve to ensure continuous transparency and accountability as part of efforts to earn the confidence of critical stakeholders in oil and gas industry. It is in the light of this that the NNPC, under Kyari's leadership, initiated various programs, one of which is Operation White, an 89-man committee with mandate to sanitize operations in the downstream subsector.
Mr. President's directive was very clear. Mr. President directed us to make sure that we monitor every molecule of petroleum product that we import into this country, from the marine mother bases all the way into the filling stations, and to ensure that leakages along this value chain is contained to the various minimum or eliminated, and to also ensure that leakages across our borders are contained.
The GMD is optimistic that the Operation White will monitor and track every molecule of petroleum product imported into the country and follow it through to the pump, adding that the NNPC was poised to support the federal government in its quest to guarantee energy security for the country. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Contribution from the solid mineral sector to the Nigerian economy is still less than 1%, despite huge investment by the government, and all members of the mining family are worried by this. But what are the factors responsible for this? Mia Ogidi was at the 4th annual Nigerian Mining Week holding in Abuja and tells how solutions reached.
Sitting on 44 proven solid mineral resources, some consider Nigeria as global haven of mineral resources, but very little are contributing to the GDP.
While we contribute less than 1% now, about 0.05, we want to be able to contribute about 5% of the GDP to Nigeria from mining and steel.
Federal government in 2015 decided to build this sector brick by brick with initial presidential intervention fund of 30 billion naira. 15 billion naira again for the mineral integration program, but finances.
Time now to join Dotun in Lagos for stories from that zone. Hello, Dotun.
Thank you, Kenneth, and welcome to Lagos. It is reported reported that road accidents during ember months are usually on the increase. They are majorly caused by recklessness and inability of some articulated vehicle drivers who do not comply with traffic rules and compromise the standard of their vehicle. To address these issues, Corps Marshal Federal Road Safety Corps Oboye Oyeyemi met with key players in the oil and gas industry in Lagos. Imolayo Tokede has details.
This meeting was geared towards seeking for a more comprehensive collaboration with the Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria towards ensuring non-compromise of standard of articulated vehicles. It is also to fight the spate of loss of lives and investments due to road crashes involving tankers and trailers, right from the downstream sector of the industry.
Moman would give us a helping hand to bring in DAPMAN and to bring in IPMAN. Then Nupeng PTD has agreed already to be part of this team, as well as NATO. I think once all these organizations can come together, we'll be able to. We need to really address this issue of falling tankers on the highways. We need to take the countermeasures to bring this down.
Support for FRC in terms of training, in terms of also setting standards, minimum standards that the trucks that operate and carry fuel products should adapt to.
The meeting concluded on an agreement from both parties to introduce the enforcement of waybills to improve compliance of traffic regulations relating to weight of cargoes. In Lagos, Imolayo Tokide, NTA News.
Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has sued for peace between aggrieved parties of the Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria. The union members were urged to set aside their differences for the benefit of its members. Hinginojan Adams reports.
Resolving the leadership tussle among the two factions of the association is the reason for this meeting. This follows a series of invitations by the Lagos State government. At this meeting, the governor, represented by his chief of staff, Tayo Ayinde, is positive of a quick resolution of the matter.
To not insult anybody or harass anybody or beat anybody is not permitted in the Constitution of Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria. We should live together and work together, then we should bring peace to Lagos State and Lagosians.
Despite the absence of one party, the association's leadership says it awaits the decision of the National Industrial Court.
On the 17th, we will be back to the court and listen to the rule of the court, in respect of the originating motion.
Promising to remain law-abiding and as a show of good faith, the association directed its members in Lagos that have withdrawn from some motorparks to immediately return. In Lagos, Hinginojan Adams, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Lagos. Network News continues after this timeout. Please stay tuned.
Year, but growth is not high.
Golden accessories. I shot bad.
Mommy, is it not too early to be dressed?
Too early, get. Sure. I don't dance eyeball since now.
Okay.
You think I go miss all the small shop? I don't do rishi.
Mommy.
Should be not that take a caterer when they come out, they get side meal on the thing. And as for my women group, hey, not KSA or nothing at all.
Now when you get mouth?
You're familiar, Jerry. My picking.
Mommy, your credit still there, so?
Of course now. Now we the first credit like water. You not trust Glow?
Glow and Mebo. Get 5 times your recharge to call all networks. Recharge with *555*PIN#.
You want to know where the party they shall let? Start here.
Glow Unlimited.
Here is a very tough guy who knocks out every opponent. But now he's been knocked down by malaria.
Amatem Soft Gel.
Amatem Soft Gel makes treating malaria easy. Amatem Soft Gel is a game changer.
Oh!
4 soft gel are good to comot malaria for body.
Available for adults and children. Say no to malaria. Yes to life.
From our wonderful family, meet Smalley, our little one. He's always hanging out with friends.
Packed with healthy nutrition, nourishing vitamins, power-up protein, strength of calcium, revitalizing energy. Hollandia yogurt is bursting with goodness inside and out. Hollandia yogurt, it's all good.
What we are really cultivating here is a better future for all Nigerian women, and it's not always easy. Panadol Extra relieves headache, backache, joint pain, toothache, and menstrual pain. The pain is worth it.
The meeting between the organized labor and the federal government has just ended, with both parties agreeing to meet Wednesday afternoon for further negotiations on the consequential adjustments for the implementation of the new minimum wage for workers from level 7 and above.
So far, commitment has been shown that we believe and the areas that are still in contest are critical. Therefore, government are urged also on their part see how they can shift ground positively in order to mitigate the agitation ahead.
Welfare of workers. So we've worked very well together today. Both sides have made a lot of concessions, but we discovered that there are some gray areas that need to be ironed out.
We now take you back to the story of the Nigerian Mining Week, where contribution from the solid mineral sector to the Nigerian economy is still less than 1%, despite huge investment by the government, and all members of the mining family are worried by this. But what are the factors responsible for this? Mir Ogidi was at the 4th annual Nigerian Mining Week held in Abuja and tells us solutions reached.
Sitting on 44 proven solid mineral resources, some consider Nigeria as global haven of mineral resources, but very little are contributing to the GDP.
While we contribute less than 1% now, about 0.05, we want to be able to contribute about 5% of the GDP to Nigeria from mining and steel.
Federal government in 2015 decided to build this sector brick by brick with initial presidential intervention fund of 30 billion naira, 15 billion naira again for the mineral integration program. But finances from the sector are nosediving.
The under-declaration of mining products in various states and other unwholesome activities of operators affect the revenue drive of the solid minerals.
Industry players admit there are obstacles. So, seated in this hall are some of the finest in the solid minerals sector from within and outside the country at the 4th annual Nigeria Mining Week, and the discourse is centered on lifting the roadblocks.
The operation is under the yoke of ambiguity in our legal system, which puts the ownership of land surface in the purview of state governments and the minerals under it in the control of federal authorities.
Security of tenure, security of operations and all that. So these are some of the roadblocks that we're working on and that we can take care of.
So the think tank of this signature gathering will do the paperwork as a guide for more productive sector. Mie Ogidi, NTA News.
Still on the economy, global growth is projected to pick up to 3.4% in 2020 from 3% in 2019, following projected recovery in a group of emerging economies. Leah Katung Babatunde reports that the International Monetary Fund also uploaded ongoing agricultural reforms, but advised that Nigeria works on lifting per capita growth to achieve government's desire to lift millions out of poverty.
2018 saw a sharp slowdown in growth. Tensions between the U.S. and China, financial market sentiments and weak manufacturing activity are the heart of the decision by the IMF to lower forecasts for the first half of 2019.
If growth were to deteriorate more severely, an internationally coordinated fiscal response tailored to country-specific circumstances may be required.
Drawing from the Article 4 consultation report of the IMF's visiting team to Nigeria and the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, the fund is optimistic purposeful diversification is key to changing the status of many Nigerians.
From strong agricultural production early in the year, but growth is not high enough to lift per capita growth into positive territory, as Vika said. So for some time now, we've been emphasizing the need for a comprehensive package to lift growth.
The fund is calling for more deliberate efforts in boosting trade ties between African member nations. It is adding that more jobs would have to be created on the continent in the medium to long term, given the demographics that clearly show a large population of young adults who would have to be gainfully engaged in the work of poverty reduction. From the IMF headquarters in Washington, D.C., I'm Leah Katung Babatunde, NTA News.
The need for pension income to be invested wisely to ensure fair returns on such investment was a talking point at the opening of the 7th Conference for Directors of Pension Fund Operators in Abuja. Benny Adams reports.
At a living wage, and while struggling to make ends meet, the need to save for the rainy day becomes imperative. That paved the way for the introduction of pension scheme. Bedeviled with irregularities, underfunding, and poor administration in the past, Nigeria's pension system rose to a record 9.43 trillion naira in assets as at 31st August 2019. As a result of the Pension Reform Act of 2014, which now covers all workers in the public and private sector establishment. This meeting is to increase capacity of pension fund directors to ensure proper management of the fund.
We are determined in the legislature, together with the executive, to ensure that not a single kobo is mismanaged for the pensioners, so that as you retire into a very peaceful life.
And every sector is looking for scarce fund, and the only fund that seems to be available is the pension fund. Hence, the need to secure pension fund.
Everybody's money is safe. No matter how established a thief is, he cannot steal this pension money.
The newly introduced micro pension plan covers individuals operating in the informal sector, now expected to benefit from the contributory pension scheme. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
Musa in Sokoto has our next story. Hello, Musa.
And welcome to Sokoto. Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar has described prayers and total submission to God as the only way to end the lingering issue of insecurity, kidnapping and rustling in Nigeria. He was speaking when he received a delegation of Association of Christian Traditional Rulers of Nigeria. Sheikh Muhammad Atiku placed the report.
The five-man delegation was under the leadership of King Winston Ogon Perry of Balabiri Kingdom, Ikelga, Balsa State. The Sultan described their visit as homecoming and timely, considering the lingering issues of banditry, kidnapping, rustling, and killing of innocent souls. He expressed the need for Nigerians to shun ethnic political and religious differences and instead intensify prayers and hold on to the tenets of their religions.
We must do the right thing always. And when we do things, we only have the fear of Almighty God in our hearts as we're doing them, not of any other person. So it's a challenge to all of you. It's a challenge to all of us. But inshallah, with the will of Almighty Allah, we will overcome all these challenges, and Nigeria will be a much, much better place.
General Secretary of the Association, Dr. Winston Ogon, said their visit to the Sultan was informed by the need to proper lasting solution to the dangling national challenge. The monarch called on leaders at all levels to consider Nigeria first and shun all forms of sentiments that can lead to crisis.
I appreciate the kind gesture, and I look forward that Nigeria will be as peaceful as Sokoto.
We'll come together and then look into what to do to bring a solution to the insecurity and these massive killings.
The Sultan later led his visitors to meet with his district heads in the state. In Sokoto, Shehu Muhammad Detti, NTA News.
That concludes our contribution from Sokoto. The news continues with Kene in Abuja.
Thank you, Musa. The Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, is using its 2019 end-of-the-year program to draw the attention of government and other stakeholders to various challenges limiting its operations. Kenneth Nani reports that alternative funding was identified as critical to meeting the demands of the agency for optimal performance.
This is the state of many roads said to be caused by lack of maintenance and non-adherence to tonnage, especially by articulated vehicles. All these necessitated the establishment of Federal Road Maintenance Agency in 2003 to maintain federal roads. 16 years down the line, the agency is still grappling to meet its operational mandate. FEMA is therefore taking stock of its operations and harvesting professional ideas to put in perspective ways of improving its appropriations, develop a policy framework that drives planning, implementation, and evaluation of road maintenance in the country.
A nation that will successfully engage in road management, road maintenance reform must have an approved national transport policy.
80% of travels in Nigeria, whether it's heavy load, heavy lifting, they are done on road. In other climes, the rail shoulders the bulk of it.
There should be no priority project anywhere that FEMA should not cover. If FEMA is not covering it, FEMA is deficient.
Taxes in Nigeria has gone to 7.2% now. So if you're taking these taxes off the people, we need to give them the dividends of democracy.
I think it's an event that has given us wide visibility and attention, which we hope we get more attention from much higher levels, that will take a special closer look at our funding issues, and I believe that solutions will come out of it. So it's been a very useful forum.
It is also expectation of FEMA that point is underscored here will bring about the value addition needed to improve its operations nationwide. This, the agency believes, will reduce risks on the highways, save man-hours, prevent revenue loss, and control cost-induced inflation in the country. In Abuja, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari commiserates with victims of natural disasters, especially floods, which have ravaged some states of the Federation recently, particularly in the southwest and southeast. In a statement by Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, President Buhari commends the efforts of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, for its intervention activities so far, bringing succor to victims in different parts of the country. The President reminds other stakeholders of their role as spelled out in the policy document on disaster management in the country, specifically calling on local and state governments to live up to their responsibilities by coming to the assistance of victims that fall within their purview. We still have more commercials for you on the news.
Projections and expected gains of the 2020 budget is the focus this week on NTA Tuesday Live. Tuesday Live at 10:30 p.m. promises to be incisive and educative. Don't miss it.
channel where you watch just now don't waka, no panic.
There's me no panic.
You go do it by yourself like ABC. Oh yeah, press the menu button on top your remote. Scroll up and down till you see Information Central. Then press OK.
Press OK.
Check the signal strength and quality. If the signal strength and quality pass 70, make you press the exit button, go back. Go advanced options, then choose installation, then go to reset and press OK.
Press OK. Wow, now you self fit catch all those channels will be one miss road by yourself. Yes, make your groove for no loss. You see as I do, Abi? And I see as I do,
Go TV. Live it. Love it.
And I see as we do,
To the glory of God, we celebrate the life of our beloved matriarch, mother, grandmother, sister, auntie, and wife, Madam Evumena Rosaline Efeludu, aged 84 years. Burial arrangement. Thursday, 17th October 2019. Service of songs. Time, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at St. Andrew's Anglican Church, 22 Okere Road, Warri, Delta State. Friday, 18th October. Commendation service at St. Andrew's Anglican Church. Time, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Interment at a residence in Odo Zeho Town before Delta Glass Company. Time, 12 noon. In-laws visit at a residence. Time, 12 noon to 1 p.m. Guest entertainment at Odo Zeho Town Primary School Field. Time, 1 p.m. Sunday, 20th October 2019. Outing service at St. Andrew's Anglican Church, Okere Road, Warri, Delta State. Time, 9 a.m. RSVP, Pastor Ray Efe Yugbovre, 0802-302-3729. Family announcer.
Sports update is next. The House of Representatives Committee on Sports has expressed commitment towards developing the sector by improving upon facilities across the country. Chairman of the committee, Olumide Oshoba, was speaking in Abuja Tuesday when he led other members on an oversight to the Moshood Abiola National Stadium.
We will, as a committee, look through the budgetary allocation and see where we can actually help out in providing more funds to be able to maintain our monuments, the stadiums around the country.
Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sanda Dare, Tuesday in Abuja, met with presidents and secretaries of national sports federations as Team Nigeria begin official preparations for podium finishes at Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games.
Together to set a critical or map out a critical pathway for a very successful preparations for the Olympics and eventually for a quality podium performance by our athletes.
Defending champion